Hello, people of the internet. My name's Isaiah,
And my name is Matt.
and welcome to episode 21 of the Mildly Ignorant Podcast.
Yay!
Woo! We did big 2-0 yesterday. Not yesterday,
Yeah.
last week. What the fuck am I saying? Yesterday.
Yesterday. Just
Last
yesterday.
week we did the big 2-0. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, Matt. We hit the big 200 in viewers finally.
I did not.
So thank you to everyone who's been listening to all of our nonsense since we started last year, all the way back in September.
Last year. Last year.
It was last year, Matt. We're a new year.
I mean, yeah. Sure.
What? What are you like?
You're just
Okay.
one of those people. You said gay?
No. I'm just like just go on and try to be a smart ass, just like how you pretend like the milestones don't mean anything or whatever.
No,
Back
it's just
like episodes ago you're like wait, what's that shit you always say all the time? We don't record weekly. Is that what you say all the time?
No? What?
In the earlier episodes, you're saying that
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about.
talking about the milestones, we
I've
would always
never
argue.
recorded a podcast in my life.
Shut the fuck up, okay. Well, thank you everyone who listened to episode 20 and got us to 200 viewers. Thank you, or listeners, whatever, 200, whatever.
There's 200 of you. It might be just like one person 200 times, but even then,
We don't
like,
know.
if you're that
Actually,
fucking crazy, I appreciate it.
Actually, we do know. Our stats do let us know who's watching.
We have your IP addresses, and we have your
Exactly.
addresses, and we're gonna dox you.
And we have your MasterCard number, the expiry date, and the 3 numbers in the back from every single one of you. But yeah, thank you. We are here, and
We're
will keep
here.
going.
That's the one thing. We might not always have content today, but one thing we can always promise our viewers is that we're here.
Every Friday at 9 a.m. we will be here to bless
Wherever
your
you
ears.
go, there you are.
You can't you can't get mad this week, okay, that we had no topics, okay, because last week was a really good episode. We pumped that one out. We were proud of ourselves.
Pump it out. Wanna get
And now
pumped?
we're ready to pump out this piece of shit episode where we have nothing to talk about because
Okay,
nothing happened in the news.
Just nothing's been happening. That it's like
Meatloaf
it's either
died.
like, yeah, that's unfortunate. Meatloaf
But
died.
he's
Mugler
an
died.
anti-vaxxer,
Like,
though, so-
everyone's fucking dying.
Everyone doesn't like him anymore, so canceled.
I mean, he's dead. You can't get much more canceled than that.
Still canceled. But yeah, Matt, you wanted to bring up a topic. I know you spend lots of your free time on Twitter.
I mean, speaking of cancel,
and Tumblr, and you seem to embrace a little bit of the Twitter culture and have resorted to blocking lots of people. You want to
it's
explain
actually-
what that is, Matt?
it's mostly on TikTok. I just
Tumblr?
like, yeah, kind of on Tumblr, not so much, but like I just have.
Because that would be a hate
no
crime if you blocked someone on
patience.
Tumblr.
I mean, I
'Cause
do
they're
like,
gay.
block people on Tumblr all the time, but it's mostly just like bots because no one uses Tumblr. But yeah, no, I just like I have no patience for anything or anyone, and like really, it's kind of my own fault because like on RuPaul's Drag Race, if you don't know what RuPaul's Drag Race is, you live in a hole. Anyway, this season there's a straight queen, like she's a cishet white male who does drag, and like everybody on the show is fine with it, like all the other queens, producers, RuPaul, obviously, like she wouldn't be on the show if like RuPaul didn't want her there in the first place. But like so many fans, and I've noticed that like it's mostly the older white gays, like gays my age, not that like I'm super old or anything, who are so vocal and just so like vicious with their opinions about having like a cishet person who does drag on the show. And so I've seen a lot of TikToks because they're actually a really fucking funny queen, and like I actually enjoy their work. But like so many people are just so vocal and so mean and just so fucking rude about it, about like who drag is for and like what is or isn't a drag queen. Because like there's this big discussion in like contemporary drag because a lot of queens are like Instagram look queens, or like a lot of their fashion is just like off the rack, and like you don't need to put a lot of work into being a drag queen. But like, in my opinion, that's not what drag is. Drag is, and I've like talked to you about this, it's like performing a gender. And I just think like the inherent act of doing drag in itself is queer, even if the person who's doing it is not. Like if you were to like, you, Isaiah, straight guy, if you were to just like put on a wig and makeup and like, I don't know, do a number, that in itself, like even though like going into it you're straight and coming out of it you're still straight, you're still performing in a queer act, right? Like anything that makes you question gender or like criticizes gender in any way, like that is queer. And it's the fact that like you are going ahead and doing that in the first place that like, yes, I don't see why only queer people, like, because the same thing came up with trans people doing drag, and it's like trans people shouldn't be on Drag Race. Well, why not? Is their drag not valid? But like there's this big thing that like, oh, all drag is valid. So it's just gotten to the point where like I'll comment, her name is Maddie Morphosis, right? So like I'll comment on a video I see and be like, haha, like Maddie's so funny or whatever, or like people will be discussing like if Maddie belongs on Drag Race, and I'll comment something like, in quotes, like, oh, all drag is valid, right? Except now, I guess. And people were like, yeah, you're right. And I just like, I don't even argue with them. I just block them. Like, I'm just so tired of like, I'm not here to try to change your opinion. I know you're wrong, and I'm just going to block you because I don't give a fuck what you have to say.
It's funny though, because like two things, like just from what you've said, like I don't obviously watch any of this shit.
Yeah.
But like, only in modern times has like, obviously, because back then if you were gay you're probably shot and killed, but like wasn't just like cis het like men, wasn't that the origin of drag queens?
Yeah, well, I mean, not the origin of it, but yeah, you're right. Like
it used to be mostly just cis het men that were up as.
I mean, if you look at Shakespearean times, women weren't allowed on any stage productions, but like,
yeah,
you can't just not have women in plays and stuff like that. So the men would wear the wigs, like the men would be the women, and they would be in drag.
And like, it's funny too, because like the second thing that you mentioned was like the word queer, and I think this is something that's like happening a lot recently. Is that like obviously it's society, so words are being invented and words are being changed, but like,
yeah.
Just on Google alone, there's like 5 different definitions of what queer stands for, and that's what people are getting triggered about. Because like I can see like probably like where you're coming from is the definition that it's a person who rejects heteronormativity is what you're describing, and then the other definition I see often on Google right now is, if you go on the Wikipedia, is an umbrella term for people who are not heterosexual or cisgender, which is what the TikTok brain dead people are using right now as their definition of queer.
I mean, like. I mean, in this instance, I am kind of using it as an umbrella term to be like anybody who is not queer, but also just like, don't we want people to be questioning gender and like criticizing it? Like, why are we, the people who are saying that like, oh, Maddie Morphosis shouldn't do drag or they shouldn't be on Drag Race is because like they're straight. We're cutting ourselves off. Like in my point of view, like you're just reinforcing the same like stereotypes and the same boundaries that like queer people and straight people like shouldn't like interact. Like, you know what I mean? You're just like othering yourself even more, and it's like, that's stupid. And like drag queens and like effeminate men are always the one who push the boundaries in like things when it comes to gender norms in the first place. And it's like a straight person seeing Maddie on Drag Race might make them not only like question their gender identity, but like reaffirm that like, oh hey, like I don't need to be super masculine and I'm still comfortable in calling myself a man. Like you know what I mean? I just think like it's so ridiculous that there's over 7 billion people on this planet and you have to be a boy or a girl. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. And it doesn't make sense like from a scientific point of view either. Like everybody has a purpose, and like nothing is ever one thing or the other. It's never like that. So like why are we as queer people who have faced oppression for being different, why are we now reinforcing that difference? Like, I just don't get it. I think it's silly.
Yeah, I don't know. And like I said, I'm not an expert on this topic, but like this,
Of course.
And
but hey,
yeah,
it's your podcast, so you have a say. If anyone doesn't like
it,
that, they can stop watching.
The cishet male over here doesn't have a say on this topic, but I don't know. I feel like, again, this goes back to like words not existing yet in the English language to define some of this stuff that's happening in society. And I don't know. To me personally, I feel like there's too much, like, because the words don't exist yet, that we're kind of like lumping. Like, I know there is an overlap. Like, don't come at me saying I'm saying there is no overlap. There is clearly an overlap, but like, people are like not confusing, but like trying to use and what's the word I'm looking for? Like
terminology.
Sexuality and like gender identity as like one and the same. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we should be at a point in society where they should be like, obviously there's overlap, but like can treat them as two separate topics, right? Because like this article that I'm reading here from like I don't know what the fucking website is, but they're just talking about the controversy. They're like, according to Variety, is the first cast member in the franchise who doesn't identify as LGBTQ whatever plus. And then some argue that cis men didn't need to be given a platform on a show that was supposedly created to represent and serve as a safe space for the LGBTQ community. I mean, like, yeah, sure, but it just feels weird calling it that when it's more of like a gender norm show and trying to push gender boundaries. It's not like they're not promoting like being gay or bisexual or pansexual. Well, maybe they are. Well, I'm sure they are, but like it's mostly focused on gender, which I think is a different thing than.
Well, Drag Race really has become a platform for queer people to share their stories, and what people are arguing is that having a straight person on the cast is then taking the spot of somebody who could be queer. Right? They could be a different kind of minority, and then now they can't tell their stories. But that's not Matty Morphous' fault.
And then, this might sound a bit biased from me, like the straight guy defending the straight guy, but like wouldn't this like work even more in like breaking the stigma? Like it's a straight dude doing drag, and like I mean you mentioned it, and that's basically what I was gonna say. I thought I was gonna say more, but yeah, basically that's
like,
it.
why are we like putting ourselves in these boxes when like we've gotten mad at people for like putting us in a box? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just
it's like this is legit. Just again, it goes back to the whole idea of like they're so far gone in one direction with their ideologies that they reverted back to what they've hated in the first place. You know?
Exactly.
They're gone back to gatekeeping.
Yeah. No, that's totally it. And like they're like losing sight of the purpose of like question gender. Like it's a construct. Like it's why, like the fact that you're saying straight people can't do that, it's also just invalidating those experiences of the people who, because like it or not, everybody goes through like a time when they're questioning their gender. Most people just end up being like, yeah, okay, I'm a male, and I like my gender is that like I'm a man, and like that's perfectly fine. But like for some people, they go through that and they question themselves, and they're like, oh, I was born a male, but like, am I a man? Am I a woman? Like, I don't know. And then it takes them a while to figure it out. And by saying that like straight people can't do drag, it's just like for every straight person who then goes on to question their identity, they're invalidated in the sense that like, I'm not allowed to have this experience. I'm not allowed to question my gender. And that's a whole big part of like being queer in the first place, is like questioning who you are and coming to terms with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to derail off the queer like subject, I've just been blocking people. I see people with like piss poor attitudes, and I'm like, block. I swear there was a video, and it had like 45 comments, like different comments and responses, and I went through and I blocked like 30 people, and like it feels so good. Because like I know I'm not gonna get through to anybody, and I don't really care. So I just hit that block button. And I think all platforms, like whether it's like Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Tumblr, whatever, it should be way easier to block people, because we talk about like how dangerous social media is in the first place, right? Like how easy it is to get consumed and swept up in the ideals, and like how easy it is to like fall for things and like not know what the truth is and like be sold something instead, and like taking that as, if they have a good sales pitch, is that more valuable than what is necessarily true? Yet you have to like go to their profile and go to settings and then block them. Whereas like it's so much easier and so much healthy if I could literally just like click a little thing next to their name and just block, like whoosh this away, but like I never want to see anything again, you know? I think the internet would be a much better place, because yes, the internet gives people a platform to speak and like to have a voice, but I don't have to listen to it. Like, let me just fucking block you. I don't care. I don't care what you have to say, and I don't have to care what you have to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because you're speaking doesn't mean I have to listen. And like people don't realize that. They're like, but I'm talking right now. And it's like, yeah, but who are you? Nobody cares what you have to say, and nobody has to. Nobody owes you that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care what people say on the internet. Like, I don't think I've ever blocked a single person on the internet before. But like, I don't know if it's just because I'm so set in my own opinions and so comfortable in my own opinions that I just don't care what they say. Like, it's something I laugh at. I just find it so stupid that I just laugh at it, and that's why I never block it, because it's more comedy and entertainment to me than it is something that pisses me off. But also might just because, you know, I don't get triggered as easily, I don't know, or pissed off as easily.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going down this weird rabbit hole of drag queen stuff right now.
What are you seeing? Tell me what you're seeing.
They're just talking about like how there was like cisgender female drag queens, and then the whole controversy.
Oh yeah,
how you named them. And
what do you mean? Like
faux queens or bio queens, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Where both terms are problematic.
I mean, I think
and like people are gonna like, oh, the white guy wants this, but like, I'm surprised there hasn't been a spin-off yet, just because capitalism on like drag kings.
I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. Like, after we got together for New Year's, I was talking to Liz, and like, like 100% that like drag kings deserve their own platform, and it's like, it's weird that there's like over 30 seasons of Drag Race now, but like there hasn't been a single show for drag kings. And like, I mean,
I don't think
that's fine. That's not what RuPaul does, but like, I'm surprised nobody has come up and said like, we want a reality competition show about drag kings.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's also probably more so has to do with like the nature of drag king. From what I can see, it's not as over the top. Well, I mean, it is over the top in the personality, but like in the dress, I guess it doesn't seem as over the top.
I mean, because like,
and also just because it's a smaller like.
I mean, is it though? Like, it is now, but like, is there a market there? We also just don't know, because no one's doing it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's. I mean, obviously, people are doing, like, there are drag kings, but like, there is no like drag king reality TV. I'm sure, like, if a show was made, it would definitely take off, but like, nobody's doing it. And what was I gonna say? I mean, someone needs to step up and do it. Like, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And like, people saying like that's another thing that bothers me. It's like, sorry, this is like derailing, and we're just talking about Drag Race, but like, people are like, oh, I don't want to see this on Drag Race, or like RuPaul has some problematic views, or like has had problematic views in the past. Like, they shouldn't be the host of the show. And it's like, you are very ignorant, because you obviously don't know. Or they say that like RuPaul wouldn't last a day on his own show, like if he was a contestant. And it's like, RuPaul did everything that she's doing on her show in the 80s. Like, all these weird acting skits, putting out music, like walking the runway. RuPaul was a pioneer in the 80s. Like, nobody else was doing it back then. She was the first one to fucking do it, which is why she has the fucking empire, and it's her show, and it's so big. And like, that's what she wants to see on her show, like these silly acting challenges, like her and her like best friend Michelle Visage. They would like do these weird artsy skits that like nobody fucking asked for, where they imitate these like wacky characters and like do these wacky scenarios, but like I don't know, it's just been like erased with time, and it's out of people's like focal points. So like they literally just like see drag queens now being like makeup look queens on Instagram, and they think that's all that drag is. But like it's just funny to know, like, and it's usually the younger viewers, but I'm not like pigeonholing them and saying they're the only ones, but it's like there's so much more that you haven't seen, and your opinion is very ignorant and it's very small, and it's up to you to be better informed, do your own research. But that's what comes down to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
apparently there's going to be a drag king competing in the drag queen of the year competition. That's
cool, because I know that like
it's the first one in a long time.
Yeah, one of the queens who was on RuPaul's Drag Race, Alaska Thunderfuck 5000. She had it was called something ridiculous, like the drag queen, or like the drag queen award competition of the year award competition, or something just ridiculous and inane. But like literally, like all type of drag performers were welcome to like take part in it, and I don't know how it was judged, but it was something that was for everybody. Whereas like something like RuPaul's Drag Race are looking for a certain kind of queen, right?
What season was are we on right now? I don't know. I don't follow the show. What season is this straight drag queen on?
14.
14. Okay, so last season apparently there was some drama as well with Gottmik.
Yeah, so Gottmik is trans. Yeah, was the first trans man on the show. And
people
like
flip shit for that too, apparently.
But the thing is, people fucking love Gottmik. Like Gottmik is one of the like, she was a finalist, and like her fan base is huge, but like I don't see any hate towards her now. So I think people just like, they don't like things that are different, even though like hello,
same with like
you're gay.
Peppermint apparently was another one. Made history as the first woman to open identify as trans.
There were a couple. There was Carmen Carrera. Kylie won on like an all-star season. Yeah. And then there was like Gia Gunn, who's gone on to be problematic. So like, and that's the thing, especially when it comes to like drag, like men, like performing women, is like that relationship is not just a performance. Like it's not just like I'm gonna put on like these tights and this nice dress and walk the runway, and then when I take it all off, like I'm a boy again. Like to some people that's what it is, but to some people it's like, when I put on like this wig and this makeup, like this is also who I am as a person. And like that is just as valid as somebody who puts it on and takes it off and is like, I'm a boy out of drag and I'm a girl in drag.
So I'm like reading a few of like these tweets, and like this one guy says like, sorry mate, but the idea gays need to get used to straight people in queer spaces sounds like victim blaming. Drag is queerness. Being queer is an identity, not a performance. I wish him the best of luck, but I think this was tactless and disgraceful.
That's so ignorant, considering that like, I don't look at theater, look at, like I said, look at Shakespearean times. Like straight people have always been in queer spaces. They've always coexisted. So this like idea is such a Twitter black and white bullshit take.
And people, I don't know, this guy seems like he thinks that these, and I'm sure some people make like it's their whole shtick, like that's the whole like personality, and they put their whole time and effort into it. But people have like I know some, I don't know personally, but I'm sure tons of drag queens have like their own personal lives outside of drag when they're not in like their get up. And I don't know, this comment makes me seem like he visualizes these people always in their get up and they're in drag doing this like 24/7. No, they have lives outside of this.
Exactly.
And it's like they're not acting like drag queens in their personal lives. Like, yeah, maybe some of them are flamboyant and whatever, but like, I don't know, it just seems like Twitter thinks that these people are perpetually drag queens 24/7.
Yeah, it's a very Twitter take that like straight people and queer people, like their spaces have never coexisted. Like queer people, and I know so many people on Twitter are gonna like would blow their brains out if they heard this, but like queer people would not be where they are today if it hadn't been for straight allies. Like, that's just point blank true. Yes, queer people have done a lot of pushing and fighting, and we have to recognize the queer people who have done that. But, like, straight people have accepted us. Straight people have taken us in. Straight people have shown their love. And it's like, it's very othering to just say that, like, it's us versus them. Like, why would you do that?
Seems pretty interesting. It's like, I'm reading a few more tweets, and it seems like people are mad that they casted the straight cis person before casting like drag kings. Apparently it's a big thing that they wanted drag kings on the show before.
See, I mean, we just mentioned it, but like, I think that's silly because it's you're looking for different things. Like, I'm not saying that like drag kings aren't valid. I'm just saying that like you're looking for drag queens. Give the drag kings their own platform, their own opportunity to grow and shine, instead of grouping them in somewhere where, I don't want to say they don't belong, but where they're not going to be able to shine.
And some of these people seem like they're just trying to collect these drag queens like Pokemon. There's like this one comment saying, there's never been an assigned female at birth non-binary person on any Drag Race franchise IMO, and they're a priority. It's like, how specific do you want to be?
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like a very specific person you're looking for. Assigned female at birth, non-binary person. If you want to assign into sexuality as well, go ahead. Like, it seems like they're just trying to pickpocket, like, things that they want on their show. Like, maybe it does reflect them personally, and their selfishness is kind of
they would like to see it. Like, and, like, that's fair. But, like, to invalidate someone else's chance. And it's, like, it's not like Maddie Morphus is, like, punched out another drag queen to get that spot. Blame production. Blame RuPaul. Like,
and you can't even you can't blame production for stuff very specific like that. Like, you have to remember that they're looking for people that are gonna do well on the show. So try and go out in the US of A and find someone that's non-binary, assigned female at birth, that does drag and that does it well. You know, like that's criteria. Like, people
that not only does it well, but like would make good TV. You're 100% right.
You can't like, even quote unquote normal shows, like normal reality TV shows, have a hard time casting just normal people. Like, you're going out of your way to find an even more exclusive part of society. Like, not like, again, it just makes me think that these people think that all queer people are doing drag. Like, they make it seem like everyone's in the drag community, when that's not what it is.
Well, that's another limited. Big problem is that,
you're already
like,
limited.
People think Drag Race is everything, but like, Mama, it's not even like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what drag is. Like, there's also there's another show, Dragula, which is like kind of only the other big. It just had its season 4, and like it's more based on like horror, glamour, filth, and drag, and like those are the 4 like pillars. And after every it's another reality show where like queens compete to win $100,000, and they have to do like various things like acting, lip syncing, performing, and like every episode, the hosts, they're called the Boulet brothers. They're in drag all the time too, and like they say, we're not here to judge your. I can't speak. We're not here to judge your drag. All drag is valid. Like, we're here to judge you based on the assignment that we put up, like, today, right? So like, if the assignment is like be a like I'll use one of the ones that was on like the season 4, was like, you have to be a ghost on a ghost ship. So they would judge you based on your look and like a lip sync performance to one of their songs, and like how well you embodied the spirit of a ghost on a ghost ship. And like, Dragula has had like assigned female at birth queens on it, and like one of them was a finalist when it came to Dragula. But it's just like, it's a totally different kind of scope of what they're looking for, and like what they accept. I don't want to say like accept on their show, but like just like what they want to see.
The fact that they have to put like those disclaimers makes it like RuPaul knows that they have an incredibly cringe community if they have to put disclaimers like that in.
Well, no, because that's on Dragula. Like, that's not even on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Dragula, whatever.
Drag Race doesn't even go about and say that, right? Like,
it's like, we're judging you specifically on these things. Don't take it crooked, you know. Like, it's they have the fact that they have to explain it that way.
I don't know. I kind of like that because it's just a reminder saying that, like, listen, like, what you do is valid, and maybe you think you look sickening on this runway and you're going to disagree with everything I say, and that's fine. You're allowed to. But, like, this is my playground. I'm the one writing the checks, and if you're not doing what I'm asking, you're not going to, like, progress. And I think it's important because, especially when it comes to drag, where drag is an art form, right? So, like, imagine doing something you love and somebody tells you, no, you suck, go home. And it's like, well, fuck my drag, right? Like, but like, I'm sorry. I was going to write you a check for $100 if you dressed like a ghost ship witch bitch, like, and you didn't do that. So, like, I'm not going to write you the check. So, yeah. Meanwhile, you go on a show like Drag Race where, like, the rules aren't as, like, clear cut, and then sometimes these queens go on and they get told, like, what you're doing is not good, and, like, yes, it's never to, like, put the queens down, although sometimes it does come off like that, but it's like it's not as clear cut as to what they're looking for.
Yeah, I don't know, I just find it weird that they have to explain it that way, but anyways,
I mean, that keeps the fans in line. Like, yes, everyone's going to have their opinions and like someone else over somebody else, but, like, to go out and say, like, they suck, like, obviously that's wrong.
But do you know, at the end of the day, can we just agree that RuPaul or the producers are going to love this shit?
Oh, I mean,
any attention is attention at the end of the day, so are people going to tune into this season more than the others? Probably, because of all the controversy around it.
Yeah.
So guess what? More money for them, huh?
Exactly. I saw somebody comment.
Understand.
I saw somebody comment on a TikTok about, like, Maddie Morphosis, and they were like, I've been a huge fan of Drag Race and I've watched every season, but now you're letting straight people on. Like, I'm not going to watch this episode. And I literally commented saying, oh no, like, what is RuPaul, production, the other queens, and the rest of the fans going to do without you? And then somebody else commented saying, like, this was the most watched premiere ever. Like,
yeah, you shouldn't have even replied that. You know, you should have replied. You should have been replied, I'll see you in the viewing party or whatever. Because these people are gonna show up regardless. That's the thing. These people bitch and then they'll show up anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's funny, like, too, because, like, it could have just been because I was not, like, informed. Well, not informed, but, like, I just wasn't educated or didn't know much about the topic. But I truly thought when, like, drag queens, like, first started that it legit was just cishet men trying to.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's
in my
so
mind,
funny.
That's what I thought drag queens were. Yeah, just men trying, like, exaggerating female stereotypes and, like, the opposite for females.
That used to be a thing.
Yeah, I just thought it was cishet men all the time. Like, I knew that it had, like, a LGBTQ component to it. Like, obviously, like, it was. But I just thought that it was just people trying to push the gender norms and, like, that's it. That's all I thought it was.
That's actually such a wholesome take.
But now I'm gonna get canceled because I thought it was cishet men, not people.
But, like, why would you know? That's the thing too. Is, like,
I'm supposed to know everything, Matt. If not, I'm uneducated.
Like, no, you're not, and that's not possible. Like, I get it. You have the whole, like, wealth of the internet in your pocket, but, like, there's no way that people are going to be educated on every single issue all the time. And that's
Twitter
another reason why
Matt.
I'm just so happy to block people. Like, we're mildly ignorant for a reason.
Hey, what a plug. What a plug. Proving my mild ignorance every single day.
Exactly.
Like I'm talking about like 10 years ago though, like not obviously now, like in the last few years, but like when I first
you don't need to explain yourself.
I know, I'm just saying, like, I don't still think now that it's obviously after this conversation or even before this conversation, but
yeah. Well, like I said,
like that's
why
the funny
would
thing
you know?
too. It's like going back kind of to your idea of like you're supposed to know everything. Like, I'm sure there's people within the LGBTQ community that just don't give a shit about drag queen or drag racing. I'm sure it's not their. I'm sure there's people that just don't like it and not. And it's like, what are they supposed to get canceled now? They're not gay because they don't like RuPaul. Like, it's like,
yeah,
people are just trying to like simplify matters, I guess.
I mean, that Twitter is like a big joke. Like, I think I remember seeing like a message on Grindr or whatever of like somebody messaging somebody else and they're like asking like did you see Drag Race, or like who's your favorite like drag queen or whatever, and they're just like I don't watch that, and then they're like the reaction to the conversation was like ooped, blocked, like canceled, and it's just like not every gay person has to participate in every queer media either. Like it's just there's
but if they don't, it means they don't support the issues, Matt.
No, they don't. I mean, maybe they fucking like are a scientist and like created the fucking cure for AIDS. Like you don't know that. You can't say that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what Twitter thinks. You're either with us or you're against us. There's no in between, black and white, like you said.
That's so stupid. And like
everything is becoming more and more polarizing.
That also just alienates people who are on the fence and like who haven't made that decision yet. And like getting that type of attitude from somebody who is either questioning or like questioning on behalf of someone else. Like imagine you grew up super conservative and you met me and you knew that I was gay and like you've always had your reservations about queer people. If I thought like fuck straight people, like I don't care about them or their opinions, like that's just gonna turn you off of me and like you're not gonna want to associate with me anymore. And like that's literally the opposite of like what everybody wants, you know? Sorry, what you were gonna say?
I was just saying, this is like a very old video. Like I'm sure you've seen Jubilee on YouTube. They did like the do all drag queens think the same video.
Yeah.
I think it was somewhere in there that there was like they got like a few men that identified as cishet in there. It just got me thinking, like I'm wondering why. I mean, it's just a YouTube video. That's probably why people didn't flip shit. But like I don't know, maybe this video, even though it's not that old, I think maybe might have reinforced my like not opinion, but like what I thought drag was, like, you know, thinking it was like cishet men, but like there's just like small sample, I guess, of what drag queens are. Fuck, I'm trying to find it. Yeah, have you seen the video before?
I think.
It's like where they all stand in like the room and then they go to like one side or the other.
Yeah, and they like they move
prompts.
left or right depending on if they agree. Yeah.
Yeah, based off prompts. Yeah.
I like those videos. That's
apparently there were like a few famous ones in there, like Eddie D. I don't know. Cornbread. Oh, she was on Drag, you know?
Yeah, she's on this season actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Vander Van Odd.
Oh, Vander Van Odd. I think they won, or they were definitely on a season of Dragula.
Claus.
One of the earlier seasons.
Mercury Minx. Tara Shea Montgomery.
That's the thing too. Is like
Claus is drag king. Yeah.
Yeah, drag is so different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just like I've tried to explain it to you. It's like kind of the simplest way to explain it is like it's performing a gender. And like sometimes it's not even quite that.
Exactly, yeah. And see, the top comment is literally someone who quoted one of the quotes from one of the drag queens in the show. Is like, drag is what you do, trans is who you are. And
yeah,
that's probably something we need to spam all over Twitter for people to understand. But apparently Twitter doesn't see it that way. So
it's because, like I said, everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
So, and if you disagree with mine, I'm just gonna block you.
Real hot take, Matt.
I have to though. Like,
yeah.
No. Another thing that like I really don't like is like how it's almost expected for everybody to like put their identities in their like their Twitter bio and like make a card where you like list every way that you feel oppressed as a person or have been oppressed. It's like I remember growing up in the internet, it was like, never use your real name. Don't ever tell anybody where you live. And like, now I've got to go on the internet and like tell people my kinks or like I'm a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Where like,
apparently they did in this video somewhere, they did talk about misogyny and like opposite of homophobia or whatever you want to call it in the drag community. I'm trying to find it, but apparently, they talked about drag culture is very misogynistic or something, and that's why drag kings were hard to get into the business.
I mean, that would totally make sense. I like I don't do drag,
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
the behind the scenes stuff is always.
my opinion is like as equal to yours because like I don't do drag.
Exactly,
Like I'm just speaking from my queer point of view. But like this is our podcast, so if you're listening, thank you. But like this is our platform. You can disagree with us if you want. But we're gonna talk about it.
The second comment's kind of sad, but it's kind of funny too. But like the drag king apparently at one point in the video was like they either don't book drag kings or just book one they say they did to be like unique or whatever, inclusive.
Yeah.
And there's like Jubilee, the YouTube channel. I think he's calling us out because they
only have one king on the
drag king on the show. They fit the quota. we're so inclusive. We have a drag king on our. Do all drag queens think the same? And then she called them out in the same episode.
That's hilarious. I mean, but it's a relevant critique, right?
Yeah.
Like
they don't have as many opportunities as drag queens do, probably.
Like just that's so weird.
Due to the sheer like size.
Yeah, but like even then, it's like there's not equal opportunity for this like super ultra niche type of performer, but like we have plenty of rooms for these like regular super niche performers. Like, you know what I mean? Like nobody is like it's just so weird to me that like drag is already niche and like it's more mainstream now than it ever has been, but like the fact that people are like your drag doesn't fit this stereotype, so like it's not like we're not going to book you, or like we're not going to care about you, or like you're not talented, or like what you're doing is an art. Man, gay people can be so catty sometimes.
I'm trying to see if I can. Okay, either she deleted the comments, or because I'm on Maddie Morphosis' Instagram, I can't seem to find any like shit talk in the comments. People are referencing it, but I think either the comments got deleted or just no one bothered to attack her Instagram, which is probably not true.
It's probably moderated.
Yeah. Seems like lots of drag queen accounts are supporting her.
And that's the thing, is like from everything we've seen, everybody in the community has shown Maddie nothing but support. And like Maddie also is the type of person to not speak over other like queer people and like realize that this is a queer, like predominantly queer space, and like she's never been shown speaking out or speaking over, but only like lifting other queer people up. It's just she's, and even production kind of keeps playing on the bit, and I'm getting tired of it already, and it's only like the third episode of the season about how like Maddie's a straight queen, so like let's throw back some beers and play football. And it's like it's a good thing that Maddie has a sense of humor, because I'm already fucking tired of it. And like gays just harping on her just because she's straight. Like, grow up. Like, get some new material.
I'm just reading more Twitter comments, and it's funny how some of them are using like controversial terms that apparently, according to Wikipedia, shouldn't be used in drag community anymore.
Well, I mean, that's
like
another thing too, right?
Faux queens and bio queens, and I just see tons of tweets apparently, people calling like female drag queens bio queens, apparently not right terms to use.
Like, language grows and evolves, and like that's something we always have to be conscious of, because like the term transsexual isn't used anymore, right? And it's considered offensive today, but like there's a trans entertainer, their name is T.S. Madison, and like they're a comedian, they're funny as fuck, and her like the TS stands for transsexual. And like if you look at old like Marsha P. Johnson, who like during the Stonewall riots was like one of the major influencers who like pushed for LGBT advocacy, like they considered themselves transsexual. And like kids on Twitter would see that now and be like, why'd she call herself that? Like, oh my god, that's so terrible. Like, that's like such a slur. And like, you can't say that. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
language has changed. And like, why are you so caught up over the language and not the message?
Yeah. And it's funny, like, reading into this, like, talking about, like, message and wording and stuff like that. Like, like I said, I don't know RuPaul. I know he was in controversial stuff, or he said controversial things, and, like, I don't really know anything about him whatsoever. But, like, it seems like RuPaul seems really, like, relaxed about what he considers, like, drag, or how he interprets it. Like, there's, like, they were talking about, like, on the Wikipedia page here, they're talking about, like, how certain countries, like, ban female impersonation, right? Because it's, you know, it's a crime. God won't let you do that,
because it's homosexuality, and homosexuality is a sin.
But like, apparently RuPaul said that, like, he's like, I don't impersonate females. He's like how many women do you know wear like 7-inch heels, 4-foot wigs, and skin tight dresses? He's like, I don't dress like a woman. I dress like a drag queen.
Yeah.
And then, like, apparently he doesn't care whether it's like you use like she or he pronouns with him. He's like, as long as you call me by something, he's like, I'll. But like, I guess like everyone's unique, right? But like, I just know that drag queens sometimes put more emphasis on the she, and then some of them put more emphasis on like what they identify as and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I just find it weird, like how not weird, but like I just find it like interesting how RuPaul's like not the creator, but like, you know, like the not pillar either, but like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, like
the drag
the
queen, I guess.
ingenue. Yeah, exactly.
And like how he's more relaxed than like future generations. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just interesting to point that out.
No, I 100% agree. And like, it's so funny because even RuPaul's opinions have changed. Like a couple of years ago, they tweeted out like that they wouldn't want any trans people on the show because they have like an unfair advantage.
Oh, is that why he got canceled?
Yeah, that was that was a couple of years ago. And then like, we've had trans winners. We've had like trans people on the show, like before they came out, during the coming out process, and after they've come out, and like trans people have won the show. So like, obviously that opinion is changed, and like people are still saying like, oh, RuPaul is transphobic, like cancel RuPaul, like RuPaul's Drag Race should be hosted by somebody else. But it's like, bitch, what the fuck do you want? Like, we've literally, like, Kylie Sonique Love was the winner of All Star 6, and they're trans. And there was one of the international seasons, I can't remember which one it was because there's so many. But like,
and like they talk about that here too, like how there's like the whole debate ongoing about like calling like transgender drag queens because by definition they cannot be drag queens. So like they're trying to say like they're saying like lots of them refer to themselves like drag artists.
Yeah.
Instead of drag queens or kings, as it doesn't imply anything gender-wise.
Yeah. And it's like, why? Who's to say you can't be on this show? Because like, yes, RuPaul's Drag Race doesn't explicitly say like for drag queens only.
Then there's like female queens and male kings. What? Oh, just females like exaggerating their own gender presentation. That's going to trigger people if they ever cast someone like that on the show. Oh my fucking god, a cishet person playing a cishet person. Double whammy canceled. Absolutely livid. Twitter's gonna go
people
nuts.
Would actually lose their minds.
Yeah, they're gonna go fucking nuts.
Yeah. I'm just like, coming out of all of this, I'm so glad that Maddie Morphosis, like the straight queen, has such a good attitude and is just kind of rolling with the punches and just like,
you see, Matt, because that's your privilege showing, Matt.
I mean, no, it is, but also like, because it could have so easily gone the other way, where like casting them just for the attention and like the outrage that would conspire, and then just like completely ruining their career. Like, you know what I mean? But like, production, RuPaul, you can tell actually enjoys Maddie based on the few, because like RuPaul barely ever talks to the queens. It's just like maybe once while they're like doing the challenge, like figuring stuff out, like a walkthrough of the workroom, like while they're either making their outfit or like writing their lyrics or learning their lines.
He's just the host, right? He doesn't. Yeah. He's not like. Yeah, he doesn't judge. He's not.
No, he is the judge. Like the final word comes down to what RuPaul says. So like,
what are
after
these
the little
other judges, what the fuck? On like the show description right now is like Santino Rice, Billy B.
Yeah, so
Ross Matthews.
There is a panel of judges, and they're there to provide critiques and provide like feedback to the queens and also give their opinions to Ru. But at the end of the day, like RuPaul has straight up like broken their own rules and been like, because the whole point of the show is like, if you aren't good at the challenge for whatever reason, you're in the bottom, and the bottom two queens lip sync for their life, where they both are on stage at the same time and they perform to the same song, and then RuPaul picks one to stay. But like, there's been a couple times where RuPaul is just like, neither of you are going home. Like, I don't want either of you to go home, or both of you are going home. I don't think that was like a performance worthy of both of you continuing in this competition. And
why hasn't Twitter getting mad about these judges? I'm looking at these judges. None of them, minus like maybe Santino Rice does like drag. The other three, well, Ross
It's
Matthews.
So funny you say that.
Matthews
it's so funny you say that because people fucking hated Santino.
Okay, but like Ross Matthews, I know that he's gay just because I know him from other stuff. But like,
yeah,
are the other two gay or like part of the LGBTQ community whatsoever?
Okay,
and why the fuck aren't they canceled? Why the fucking Twitter not getting triggered by them?
So the main panel as it exists now is RuPaul, obviously the host, the queen bitch of the show, Michelle Visage, who is like RuPaul's long-term friend. Like they were friends like back when like
okay, so this is old.
Yeah,
sure judges don't exist anymore.
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, no, because those were judges of like the earlier seasons. But like,
okay,
it's Ru and Michelle is like longtime friends, and she was like in the voguing scene of the 80s. Like she was in the gay clubs. Like Visage is such a like. I could go into the history of like why she belongs there. And then Carson Kressley was one of the original members of Queer Eye, like, you know, the show, like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Mm-hmm. Well, like the not reboot version. So like the classic one from, I think, the 90s. Yeah. And I don't know why Ross Matthews is there. I think like they're just friends with Ru, and like they're there to provide like support. I mean, and comedy relief, really. But I mean, it's Ru's show, and that's who Ru wants on the panel, right? So like, some people are highly critical of like, why is this person judging, or like whenever there's guest judges and they have stuff to say, and it's like, who is this person? But like, at the end of the day, RuPaul's writing the check, and if RuPaul says like, you're sitting in the chair, like you're sitting in that chair and you're judging and like doing what they ask, whether the queens like it or not. That's like, do you want this check? Like, shut up and take your critiques.
Okay, so wait. So RuPaul is his real name. It's the like legal name.
RuPaul Andre Charles.
Was he born RuPaul?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a stage name more than like an actual name, you know?
Right?
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if he like changed his name or something, but I guess not.
Nope.
No.
Not all queens do. There's a couple other queens, like Chad Michaels, who was like a famous Cher impersonator. He was on Drag Race, and he won All Stars 1, and he was on season 4, and like that's Chad Michaels' real name. There's Derek Barry, who's a Britney Spears impersonator. They've been on a couple seasons, and like Derek Barry is their stage name and their real name. So it's not all. That's the thing too, is like not all drag performers have a drag name or like a performance name. And
it seemed like a performance name. Like I just wasn't.
Yeah.
RuPaul
Andre Charles.
Apparently the Ru comes from a soup.
Yeah, you make a Ru when you make like mac and cheese.
Apparently that's what her mom named him after. A soup.
That's ghetto.
Okay, well, Matt, it's been almost an hour, so I think we should move on to our listener question.
I'm so sorry for like derailing this. And
no, it's all good. We talked about blocking people on Twitter and drag. More so drag than blocking people on Twitter, but yeah. So, what's the moral of the story, Matt?
If you disagree with someone, block them.
I was gonna say Twitter sucks ass, but hey, whatever.
Yeah,
that one too. But I think we've already established that statement. Yeah, multiple times already. Yeah, I'm trying to pull up this list. I'm trying to think of a question we haven't done yet.
Yeah, we keep forgetting to like cross off the ones that we've done.
Yeah. Okay, I have one. This is a bit of a weird one. I don't know if I can even think of an answer, but where's the worst smelling place you've ever been in your life? That's our listener question for this week. Live from the listeners that listen to the Mildly Ignorant podcast.
Where's the worst smelling place you've ever been in your life?
Yeah.
I mean,
An outhouse.
oh yeah, okay, that's up there. But like literally the first thing that popped into my head was like the high school locker rooms. Like the high school,
those are disgusting. Yeah.
yeah.
High school
still,
locker
like,
rooms.
That rancid fucking like, it's the kind of smell that like burns your nose.
Yeah. Exactly. Also, dude, some places in New York City. You've never been, right?
Yeah, I have.
Some places in New York City smell like dog shit. I remember that faintly.
Yeah.
Like if you're especially in like the alleyways with all the garbage.
When have you been in a New York alleyway? I want to hear that story.
Hey man, we were looking for some pizza. We were looking for the top New York pizza, and there's like one place that like the entrance is like on the side of the building. And
who were you fucking asking? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, we were looking up ratings on Google. We wanted to know what was the best New York pizza in the area. So we found a place that was like a little shithole, but it was amazing pizza. I mean, probably didn't pass any food health safety things.
Oh, but those are the best places.
Yeah, those are the best places, man. It was really good. New York pizza, beautiful.
Have you ever had to use like, I don't know what they're called, like porta potties? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, porta
like
potties
at events.
Yeah.
Those fucking how do they?
Those aren't as bad
so
as like
bad?
straight up outhouses though. But like usually outhouses are like never emptied, so they like stench up and smell like hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, porta potties are gross as well. If I have to shit, I'm never gonna use a porta potty.
Yeah, I'll just
shit in the bush or like
I'll go behind the porta potty.
I'll go behind the
shit behind.
I'll shit behind the porta potty, or I'll just hold it in, for like 5 hours and then be constipated for a whole week.
I miss going places.
COVID, man, huh?
Like we're talking about literally like the worst experience, like having to shit out in public. And I'm sitting here like, I miss going out.
Have you, but like fish, like also like not slaughterhouses, but like I've been to fisheries that smell like absolute hell.
Oh, I've never been.
Where it's like just dead fish everywhere. It smells even more like sea and crap and everything. That was pretty bad.
Me after I don't wash. Never mind.
Matt's a little unhygienic boy.
You always wash your hoodies.
What kind of hood, Matt? Wash underneath the hoodie.
Exactly. I like to go like
unless your hoodie's missing. I don't know.
Are they just like naturally less smelly? I don't know.
Non-hoodied or hoodied?
Non-hoodied.
No, because your glands are not below the hoodie.
I guess.
The hoodies are on the exterior, so if you have hair, then it is smelly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I go camping with my family up at Algonquin Park, and like the outhouses fucking reek. It's the worst.
That's why we never go to provincial parks anymore. Provincial parks are, well, you can't even book provincial parks fast enough nowadays. But oh my god, I smashed my mic. Hello? Earth?
Oh my god.
Hello? We're back? Okay.
Yeah, you're still there.
I'm still alive. Okay. My mic just dropped out of thin air. Yeah. Provincial parks. We used to go, but now we don't. Private parks are better. Because at least you can shit in your own trailer. If you have a toilet.
Or in the woods if you're my cousin.
I thought that was you, man. I thought you shit in the woods.
No, I did not shit in the woods.
Why are you so mad?
Raised in a barn.
You were almost raised in a barn.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my mic keeps falling now. We need to wrap this episode, Matt, so we can fix this disaster.
Alrighty.
Okay, well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Mildly Ignorant podcast. Oh my god, it fell again. Okay. we'll keep it this
I
way
just
for
like
now.
hear it.
Yeah, it's my pop filter like scratching against the mic as it falls. But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode. Episode 21. We'll be back next week with, you got it, episode 22. We can count.
Wow.
It's revolutionary, I know. But yeah, please make sure to ask your questions. Our list is getting quite low. So please ask your questions on Spotify, on YouTube, or on social media. Just ask your questions. We'll put it to the list, and we will answer your question in a future episode of the show. And make sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We post weekly. Whenever the episode comes out. Maybe sometimes more. But yeah. That's pretty much it. We'll see you next week for episode 22. Bye-bye, everybody.
I don't know about you.
What?
But I'm feeling 22. It's a Taylor Swift reference.
I don't listen to Taylor Swift, Matt.
I know you don't. I mean, neither do I, but...
I don't even know what Taylor Swift is.
What is
a Taylor Swift? Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.